Today I'm going to fix a broken chair. The chair has several loose dowel rods. It's beginning to fall apart. This is a 100-year-old chair from the Art Deco era. From the 1920s, it's my favorite style of art. I have to be very cautious when disassembling the dowel rods. If I try to separate a joint that is firm, it may cause significant damage to the wood. Removing the corner cleats was difficult because of the flathead screws. We won't be reusing them since they are difficult to separate and drive. A few of the screws snapped while trying to remove, making the cleats a little more difficult than usual to remove. These two joints were firm. They did not need to be separated. My clamp has a spread function, allowing for easier separation without the hammer. Separating the medallion from the back splat was delicate. I noticed a small stress crack on the medallion. I used a razor knife to separate some nails, leaving the medallion fully intact. I was excited to see it in one piece. I used the utility knife to separate the old glue. I started sanding with a 220 grit. The grit was not coarse enough, so I switched to a 60 grit with the random orbital sander. I use a 1/4-inch drill bit to remove the broken dowels. I don't remember why I left screws in the box. The oscillating sander is perfect for interior corners. You can pick up an effective corded oscillating sander at Walmart for about $20. The 60 grit is followed by a 220 grit, which means I sand multiple times. I'm feeling for potential splinters on the corners of all the material. I'm cutting much larger quarter cleats. This adds long-lasting stability. I use the old cleats to transfer the angles accurately. I'm using pocket screws to anchor the cleats to the chair frame. Craig pocket hole kits are a favorite. The drill guide anchors to the cleat. This ensures the proper drill bit depth. I begin orienting the parts to make a plan of action for reassembly. The pieces need to be assembled in a certain order. Otherwise, the dowels will be too long to squeeze in the foot rails. I start to dry fit the sections without glue. I'm cutting 1/4-inch dowels to replace the broken parts. Now that I'm familiar with the orientation, I can start gluing. Every dowel hole will receive glue on both sides, along with the flat surface that contacts both sides. I cut a few of the dowels too short. They are easily removed with pliers. This joint was stubborn. When hand taps weren't enough, I attempt pressing in with a clamp. Most of the joints only need gentle force. This joint was most difficult. It would not press in. I thought changing the orientation of a few clamps would help. It's important to clean squeezed out glue. It saves on sanding later. The clamps need to stay on about 2 hours. The glue starts to harden in 30 minutes. I ran out of long clamps here. 2 shorter clamps work fine. It's time to glue on the medallion. Again, I'm being very gentle with it. The large clamp didn't work, as well as I thought. For smaller clamps were much better. The chair body was dry enough to sand away any excess glue. The chair is ready for stain, espresso in color. The P95 mask is about $35 and perfect for chemical odor. Oil-based products are horrible in odor, but period correct for this piece. I use a heat gun to speed the drying, never hovering too long on a spot. The spray can of polyurethane is sufficient and easier to clean than my large sprayer. I never let the spray hover in one spot. The can is always moving. When I engage the spray, the spray nozzle did get stuck. I was able to use pliers to unstick it. I prefer to use polyacrylic, but I need an oil sealer for an oil stain. I used a heat gun between the two coats. I'm careful to make sure there is no bubbling lest I damage the finish. My dog always makes me smile. Just under the medallion, you can see a lighter color. This was from sanding in the wrong direction. I also have a few water stains from where I used a moist towel to wipe away the glue. It needed more time to dry. I will have to sand off the water spots and be sure to sand in the same direction. The total repair time for my mistakes took under an hour. Not bad. Here I am using a cloth to wipe off excess gloss. This is similar to buffing. It requires a firm touch. The chair has been reunited with its family. I think it can go another 100 years.